What's up everyone, PureChaosX here with another one of these things, and this is kind of like an update I suppose to that first video I did. Although it's not really an update per se, it's more of an addition I suppose. In the first video I said that I might know what one of the things that might be causing me to feel a bit meh. Originally I just said that because I was, I don't know, stressed, annoyed, upset, that kind of thing. So there wasn't really any reason why. I just said I thought I might know. However, the other reason being that, yes, I might have known what might be causing it, but at the same time I didn't have any kind of, I didn't know for sure. So I didn't want to start, assuming things. But now I have a bit more information. I have a funny feeling that, yes, now I might actually know what might be the problem. So, it kind of goes back several years. So, man, it might be a little bit long-winded. So, yeah, quite know where to begin. As well, I think it was about November 2015, and yeah, I was on a dating site. I use dating sites just because, again, I can't talk to people, so doing it in text is usually an easy way, for me anyway. Not that it results in anything. Usually just results in absolutely everyone just not, ignoring me and whatnot. But I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. But basically, November 2015, emailed someone on, I think it was Plenty of Fish, I can't remember. I emailed them, obviously not expecting to get anything back. But yeah, they did, they responded. And this person's name is Nikki. I won't give you the full name, but the person is Nikki. If Nikki's watching, hello. So yeah. And then, I think we spoke for a while in text, but then we did meet. We went to town, which is my local town, in Northampton, if anyone wants to know, in the UK. I think there's a Northampton in like America or something. Bit confusing, but no, this is Northampton in the UK. So yeah, we met and went in town and walked around for a bit. She was, well, at the point still married, but split. And she had 2 kids with said marriage. So I met them, when we first met. Yeah, after that, I came home and she was like, oh yeah, I'll see you again and whatnot. So I think I went over one weekend. I think it was a weekend because her kids stayed with their father for the weekend. So I went there at the weekend, so there was no kids. And we just hung out, watched movies, play game, Xbox and all that. So that was fun. And then I came home, and I believe this was around about Christmas, 2015. Can't remember if it was before or after, but I do remember sitting at my desk there, and there was a Christmas tree to the right of me. So, you remember that. So after we hung out, I came home, and this is kind of where it went bullshit. My father came upstairs and asked me, so what am I going to do? So I thought, I said, okay, well, Nikki and I are going to give it a try and see what happens, see where it goes. And at that point, my father activated his petty childish mode and said, well, okay, but if you want to ask any questions or need help, don't come to me. Ask my mother or brother. Because he wasn't happy with me dating someone with kids because they weren't mine. They weren't my blood. I don't see why that should matter, but that was my father. So I'm like, okay, sure. So yeah, for the better part of a week, he didn't talk to me. I didn't talk to him either, to be honest, because he's a miserable sod. But he didn't talk to my brother or my mother either, because they didn't have any problems with this. It was just my father. So this went on for like a week or two. I tried to ignore it, but And I wouldn't have cared at all. I wouldn't have given a shit if it was just me he wasn't talking to. But it was affecting my mother and brother as well, and it wasn't fair on them. It wasn't fair on me or Nikki either. So, in the end, I had to, just for the sake of most people's sanity, I had to call it off, which was depressing. I did not want to do that, but like I said, it wasn't fair on all four of us. My father's behaviour somehow affecting 4 separate people. One person he hadn't even met. But this is my father. When he doesn't get his own way, he childish mode activated. And you know how kids, when their parents piss them off, they just sort of sit down, cross their arms, sort of pouting, hoping that their parents will notice them and think, okay, we'll give you this toy or whatever. That's my father. He will, petty mode will activate. He'll act like a child until he gets what he wants. And he's always done that. So in the end, I begrudgingly had to call it off with Nikki, which I really did not want to do. Because Nikki, she did try to date other guys after she split up, trying to find someone. And then obviously she came across me, I came across her. And when someone says to you that out of all the potential people, or the potential men that she dated, I was the only one who didn't annoy her, and the only one whose company she enjoyed. Which for most people I would say, you crazy. But when a woman says that kind of thing, you think, oh, I found a good one there. And to say to someone, I have to break up with you because of my dad. Who the fuck has to say that? Except for me, apparently. I'm the only one who has to say that. Now, my father's excuse was that because the kids weren't mine, which I find bullshit, to be perfectly honest. Because of current events. But then after that, I did find someone, and Nikki found someone as well. She's still with him. But I split with my then girlfriend in 2020. The Sunday before the first lockdown, in fact. But that wasn't the reason why. It was for more personal reasons. But we stay friends. I'm still friends with Nikki, and I stay friends with my ex, so... Yeah, that was that. But it was fun while it lasted, and I wish it did. And I wish my father would have given us a chance to see if it would succeed or see if it would fail. It might have only lasted a month. We don't know. But, my father pretty much made the decision for me. And that's just... It's so childish. It's just not right. It's just another reason why me living here, unfortunately, as much as I would love to get away, is virtually impossible. So we all have to put up with my dad's childish behaviour. He was acting more childish at that point than Nikki's actual children. Did I really say that? I can't remember. They came across as more mature when I met them than my father does, for the most part. But he doesn't see this, so we have to see it, and we tell him, but we're lying. That's my father's usual go-to. We're lying. We're all lying. If it isn't an answer that he's expecting or wants to hear, you're wrong. That's basically his... Yeah, everyone's wrong except for him. So that's what happened. I found someone, we started dating, she was married, kids with previous marriage. My father didn't like the fact that the kids weren't mine, which is bullshit. And I had to end it because it wasn't fair on any of us. Obviously, I know me breaking up with Nikki wasn't fair on her. But, But hey, if I didn't, she wouldn't have found her current fella and wouldn't have another daughter, so... There you go. Now, why am I saying this? Why is this relevant? Well, a couple of weeks ago, my brother started dating someone. That alone, on its own, made me kind of feel a bit depressed because, I don't know what it is. I like being alone, not being alone. I like being left alone to my own devices. I don't like people talking to me all the time. I don't like people looking over my shoulder and asking me questions. I like being left alone. Whether that's because, or whether the house is empty or full, leave me alone, I'm happy. What I don't like, and I think what I'm really sensitive to for some reason, is being alone. Being left alone and being alone, two different things. And that's where the whole the whole feeling lonely comes in. So it's like, okay, so now everyone around me is getting all these things. A relationship, cars, a house of their own, job. I have absolutely none of those things, which is what kind of sparked that first video. So, and it's impossible for me to pretty much get any of those. It's not through it's not through trying, or, I've tried. It's just, I don't know, mentally impossible, physically impossible for some things, like the driving thing. That's impossible for me. Getting out and about and talking to people, that's a mental impossibility for me. So, yeah, all those things are just impossible. I have tried, but it's just not possible for me to do. And that's kind of why it's so depressing for me. But yeah, my brother started dating someone. It made me depressed. That kind of activated depressed mode a bit. So, because now I'm can't really, don't know what to say. As I've already said, I like being alone, left alone, but I don't like the feeling of being alone. And I just seem to be overly sensitive to that emotion, that feeling. I don't know why, but yeah, it is what it is. I'm also going to try not to cry, even though I keep feeling it. Kind of, when you feel it in the back of your throat and you can sort of feel it in your tear ducts. Yeah, trying not to. Even though I've been wanting to, but for some reason nothing actually seems to come out. Like, seriously, you start the crying process, but it's like your eyes are just so dry, nothing just wants to come out. But yeah, so this was a problem. My brother started dating someone, depression mode activated, feeling lonely, and being alone. But then I started hearing bits here and there about kids. I'm like, wait, does she have kids? And this is where I didn't really want to assume anything. So, I might just be hearing things. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe this isn't the problem. But the more I heard or overheard things, because I didn't want to ask, because I just don't think I wanted to know the answer, so I never asked. But yeah, apparently, I believe the person that he's dating was also married, or is married but split, and also has 2 kids, just like Nikki. And at this point, when I realised all this, that's, I believe, is when the more misery and the more of the depression and the upset smacked me in the face, because my father, not a problem with it. These aren't his kids, these aren't my brother's kids, but for some inexplicable reason, you don't care. Didn't say anything, not one word has been said about it. But when I wanted to do the same thing, well, they're not my kids, so my father just activates his child mode and, like always, wants to get his own way when he doesn't have his own way. And so, just to try and appease people, they're not being fair on me, Nikki, my mother, or brother, because he wasn't talking to them, I had to end it. If it was just me, my father wasn't talking to, I wouldn't have given a shit whatsoever. I'd have just kept dating her, as long as he was still talking to my mother and brother. But because his petty nature affected 4 people, I couldn't put up with that. So just, again, another reason why I want to have my own place, but it's impossible, because then at least I'd be able to make my own choices and my own decision and my own failures. But for the most part, everything like that is decided for me, which is, disgraceful. But yeah, so my brother's in the same situation that I was in like 7 odd years ago. But same situation, same thing, married, kids. But I'm not allowed to do that, but my brother is. And that is just as unfair as you can get, to be perfectly honest. Nothing is different at all, but if they truly were, if my father truly didn't like it because they weren't my kids, then he would have said the same thing to the girl he's doing now. The girl he's dating now. But he hasn't said anything. He seems to be okay with it. And my father doesn't even like kids. So, just another example throughout my entire life. I'm not allowed to do something for whatever reason, even if it's the most stupidest reason. But my brother is allowed to do it. Yes, okay, granted, I don't show a lot of maturity with things, but that's not my fault. That's never been my fault. Yes, I am different. I am autistic. I have a mindset possibly of a 20-year-old rather than a 42-year-old. But again, not my fault. But if I was allowed to experience certain things as I grew up, it might have helped. It might not have. But it might have helped. It might have helped me act a little different than I am now. But again, it might not have. It might have made any difference whatsoever. But once again, as I always been saying, never been given the chance. And all of my decisions often get made for me before I'm even allowed to try or experience something ever. So yeah, that's the two things. Like, my brother starts dating someone, and then I found out that she's married and has 2 kids, just like the person I was dating. So yeah, feeling alone and feeling lonely. Like, and thought of dying alone as well. That's something that's always scared the shit out of me. So, and it looks like it is going to happen. Obviously, I don't want to die yet. I still got like half my life. Well, hopefully, like another 40 odd years. So, I don't know how long. So, but yeah, the just thought of dying alone has always been absolutely terrifying to me. So it looks like that may be happening, whenever that may be. Hopefully, in my 80s or 90s. I have no idea. I don't know how healthy I am on the inside. I do eat a lot of crap, so, but that remains to be seen. So yeah, dying alone has always been a terrifying experience, a terrifying thought or nightmare for me. And now, it's probably definitely going to happen. Like I said, it's very difficult for me to meet people. It doesn't matter if it's a potential friend or girlfriend or whatever. It's impossible for me to get out there, go places, and talk to people. I think one of the word I'm trying to look for. I have no idea what the word is I'm trying to look for. Basically, you never know nowadays how young or how old someone is. So you don't walk up to someone, you don't walk up to a woman thinking that she looks similar to your age, but then it turns out that she's 20 years younger. And you're like, oh god. Nowadays, you just cannot tell how old someone is just by looking at them. So that's another reason why I don't walk up to someone and find out, hey, yeah, I'm 42 years old, yeah, I'm 20. Oh god, that's quite embarrassing. And there's also the whole, oh no, I'm with someone. That's also quite embarrassing. That kind of thing. I suppose for most men, just the thought of rejection is what kind of spooks them as well. But all those things, and my whole social anxiety, can't talk to people, is another reason. So it doesn't help. That's why I have restricted myself begrudgingly to dating sites, because I can do it through text. And then they can choose just not to reply, which is pretty much what they do. So I don't think many people care nowadays about nerds. I'm, a Kompoopa nerd and an RC car nerd, as y'all can see. And obviously video game nerd, but not that one. Yeah, I don't know, maybe just nerds and geeks are not quite the thing that people are into nowadays. Maybe back years ago, maybe. But just not now. So, but if you live in Northampton, in the UK version, I'm sure there's one in the US. I feel. But yeah, if y'all live in Northampton and you're interested in what you see before you, and maybe you are a bit geeky as well, that would be kind of cool. Let me know. Oh. But yeah, so that's an impossibility for the most part. So yeah, like I said, I've only been like with 3 women, all basically met online. So yeah, that just seems to be my only available choice, which is why my fear of dying alone is why I think it's going to come true, pretty much. Because yeah, but yeah, the whole point of this video was that update for what happened to me several years ago with Nikki and the woman that my brother is now dating. Same scenario, same situation, same thing, pretty much. The only thing that's different is obviously the girl and me and my brother. But other than that, it's the same situation, same scenario. But my father was unhappy with me doing it, but okay with my brother doing it. And again, that's why I don't think it was because they weren't my blood. The kids weren't mine. Because otherwise he'd be saying the same thing about the girl that my brother's dating. But he didn't, so I have no idea. I think it's just, again, he lets my brother do things because he's obviously, normal, and I'm not. So I think that's the main reason. I'm not allowed to do things because I'm just not as normal as a normal person. I'm not very mature for a 42-year-old, which again, not my fault. That is not my fault. I tried to do what I need to do and behave the way I need to behave, but that is what it is. I try, but I can't do it. So yeah, my brother is allowed to do things that I cannot. Not physically or mentally cannot, but I mean, I am not allowed. For my safety is what he usually says, or the other person's safety. I have no idea. Either way is bollocks. So fuck my happiness. I'm not allowed to be happy, it would seem. I haven't brought this up yet. In fact, to be perfectly honest, I've been keeping this to myself for the last few weeks. When I found out that he was dating someone, I only kind of really found out for sure that this person was married and with kids. I think she's married, but I think she definitely has kids. So I've been keeping this bottled up the last few weeks. I don't really want to say anything. I didn't want to ask the question because I might not wanted to know the answer. So I've been keeping it to myself for this long. So yeah, it's probably not going to be doing me any good, but I don't care. I don't really want to bring it up. Because to be honest, maybe it does kind of seem childish and petty for me to feel jealousy and envious over, my brother dating someone. So it might be a little bit petty. I don't think it's petty for me to feel the way I do over, me not being allowed to do something that my brother's being able to do. I don't think that's petty. I think that's justified. But I don't know. It's just kind of one of those things. I mean, I should have sort of come to expect it, really. This is how my father's been with me since I was born. From a very young age, it was pretty obvious that I was a little bit nutso and not the same as the other kids. So that didn't help. But yeah, that's the kind of situation. That kind of what mostly triggered this. Was that my brother had someone and I don't, and then he was allowed to date someone with kids. I couldn't, therefore sacrificing my happiness for my father. Which, should this ever happen again, fuck it, don't care. My happiness comes first, and so with the person that I'm dating. It does not affect my father in any way, shape or form. I kind of wish I did this with Nikki, but I don't know, it's probably for the best actually, because so she did actually find a better person. And yeah, like I said, if it wasn't affecting my mother and brother, because it wasn't fair on them, I probably wouldn't have given a shit. So yeah, my happiness and obviously the other person's happiness are what's going to come first next time. I ain't gonna give a shit. If my father's not happy about it, whatever. I don't care. So as long as my mother and brother aren't affected by his childish nature or his childish behaviour, he can be unhappy with me being happy. I don't care. So, but yeah, that's kind of the update, I suppose. Too long didn't read. Can't be bothered to re-explain it. I wasn't allowed to date someone who was recently married, or was previously married and has kids, because they weren't my blood. But now my brother is dating someone with kids who I believe was also married, and my father's not saying a thing. So I think my misery and unhappiness and depression and anger is justified, because obviously when this happened, this is what brought up the remembering what happened, the resentment and the grudge and the hate I had for my father back when it happened. It just brought it all back. Not to mention the fact that I wasn't allowed to do something that my brother has basically been allowed to do. No questions asked. I don't think he even questioned my brother about this whole situation. He's like, oh, okay, have fun, behave yourself, and all that kind of thing. Be careful, and that's it. But mine was just met with, okay, well, don't talk to me. If you want any questions, just ask your mother or brother. Don't talk to me, I'm not talking to you. That's how my actions are usually met with. So a lot of the time, I don't even bother asking if I can do anything, because I know what the answer is going to be, so half the time I just don't even bother. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, nothing else really to say. That was the story of what happened, and probably why I am feeling more miserable and depressed than I am usually, and now I'm feeling even more alone and lonely than usual. Despite I like being left alone, but like I say, I don't want to be alone. I hate being alone. I hate that feeling of loneliness. I just feel more sensitive to it than most people. Most people can probably just look past it and ignore it and get on with their life and do all the things that they enjoy doing to take their mind off it. Whereas with me, I just seem to be more sensitive, attuned. I can't think of a word. To that kind of emotion, to that kind of, that emotional problem. So, yeah. But, like I said, if you're in Northampton, in the UK Northampton, and you're into geeks and nerds, whether it's computers, cars, gaming, and by cars I mean RC cars and real cars, I suppose, then, you can email me. I mean, you know what I look like, you know what I sound like, you know what my hobbies and interests are, so a lot of people on YouTube already know what I'm like anyway. So, yeah, and I'm sure, as you can see, I have a face for radio and a voice for silent movies. Yeah. You may also notice I have a fair amount of facial tics and twitches, so I do apologise for that. I have no idea what brought them on or how long I've had them for. But yeah, I hope they're not annoying. If they are annoying, then you might have clicked off by now. But yes, I do have some tics, so, which I do apologise. That's why I'm sometimes outside of the frame when I do them. So, yeah. But anyway, that's the story of that. It did start off as just something I said out of frustration and stress and annoyance, and didn't really have any meaning. I just said it. But now I have more information, and I feel as though I'm not assuming anymore. Yeah, I feel as though that was definitely one of the things that just kind of hit the switch. It flipped the switch, and it's like a 10-pole switch. Just from like happy, not happy, sad, miserable, depressed. It's just all those, one happy position, but then the other 9 are all about misery and depression. So I'm probably on like the 7th or 8th pole on the switch. So at the moment, but trying not to cry. It's you can feel it building up. You can feel it building up. Like that's why my eyes look like they do. So I do kind of break down every now and again. I'm not afraid to admit that. I'm man enough to admit that I cried. and have cried. I also cried at the cinema before. I'm not afraid to admit that either. I think one of the last ones was during Fast 7 at the end. That was, and Ghostbusters Afterlife at the end there. I cried there as well. Again, I'm mad enough to admit that. So there's probably more as well, but I can't actually remember some of them. And I just cry in general because life sucks. So it just kind of, yeah, if I just had one, just if I was able to get one luxury, if I had a place of my own, the car will never happen unless I have laser eye surgery, and that's very expensive. A car, partner, relationship, so I don't feel alone. I would say a job, but I don't think I would actually survive in any kind of job at the moment. Because even though I have had a job, I just couldn't do it very well just because of my mental health and my mental state, especially when it wasn't retail, but it was a computer repair shop, so you'd have customers coming in on every few minutes, and yeah, that was very stressful for me, and talking to them and everything like that. So I don't think I would be able to survive in any job nowadays. And the car thing would be an impossibility unless I can get some very expensive laser eye surgery. I also don't really trust myself behind the wheel of a car. I haven't been behind the wheel of a car for 20 years. And with an eye twitch, I'm not always looking straight ahead. When I twitch, my eyes are looking in another direction. And all it takes is just taking your eyes off the road for a second for something to happen. And like I said, I'm also very easily distracted. So I don't know if I would trust myself behind the wheel of a car anyway. So a car and a job, maybe virtually impossible. And so would a place of my own. That would also be impossible. Unless I was able to get housing benefits and have the rent paid for me, so I can concentrate on the bills and food and whatnot. So that would also be impossible though, unless that could happen. And unless I'm able to get outside, start talking to people, have an idea about how, walking up to someone, which will also never happen. I've never been able to do that really, unless I know them, obviously. So, yeah, as distressing for me as it is, all four of those things, I will not be able to accomplish or achieve even one, just because of my mental state and mental health. I mean, in a way, physically, I could probably do it. I probably could drive if I tried. That's probably about the only thing I'd be able to do. When it comes to a job, I would probably have to have a job where I am my own boss. I work from home. I wouldn't have to travel because I don't have a car. And I'm the only employee and I'm the only person who I get to talk to. Then I could probably do a job. But at the moment, any kind of job that involves talking to people or even wants you to have a driver's license, impossible. Just would not be possible. And like I said, excuse me, all four things are going to be impossible for me to achieve anyway. So I really, I shouldn't, what's the word I'm looking for? Get hung up about things that I will never have. But you shouldn't get hung. Once you realise it's just not possible to do something, I don't want to say give up, but these are physical, mostly mentally impossible for me to do. And I know they are. It doesn't matter how many people say, well, try and try. It just will not be possible. The car thing, maybe. The job thing, very much unlikely. A house, that's going to be impossible. Or even just a flat. And a relationship, also impossible, unless I was able to get myself outside and interact with people. But that's one of my biggest problems. Like, that's my biggest mental block, is that kind of thing. So, yeah. And knowing those things, all four of those things are out of my reach, that just makes me even more fucking depressed. And it's just like, well, why am I here though? Like, I'm just here to be here, am I, or something, or what? I'm not doing anything for myself. I'm not doing anything for other people. You know, it's just like, I think as I said in the first video, I just feel like life's punching bag. And you just kind of here to make somebody else feel better. But, you know, unintentionally. You know, punching bags, you punch them to make you feel better, to, you know, take out stress. And that's kind of what I feel like I am here for. So, yeah. Fuck. Is all I can say to that. So, fuck, bollocks, tits, ass, whatever. So, yeah. So, yeah. Oh, God, tickly nose. Oh, hang on, you want to see my finger up my nose? Ugh. Ah. Oh, God, I hate having hairs up my nose, bloody cats. Ugh. Yeah. So, it is what it is. I shouldn't get too hung up about it. And if I wasn't, I don't know if it's like me being autistic just means that I'm more sensitive to certain things. Because there's a lot of things I'm not sensitive to, and a lot of things I'm just like about. Where most people would be sensitive, I just have I don't care. But then certain things that other people would just not care about, I feel overly sensitive about. So it's weird. I don't know if that's a side effect or an effect of the autism, or is it just my personality? I don't know. And I would have been like that even without being autistic. Who knows? It's just very difficult to know. I'm actually getting out of breath because, as you can see, that I'm actually walking around the place. As I've mentioned on several occasions, I cannot stay still. I have to move around when I'm doing something like this. So I apologize if anyone's feeling a little bit motion sickness. Probably should put that warning at the beginning. I do try to stay still. I did sit down for a bit. Let me sit down for a bit. Ow. Oh. Yeah, there we go. I'm sitting down for a bit. I'm sitting down. So, yeah, it's bollocks. I hate everything out there right now. It's just a pain. I mean, it kind of feels a little better to kind of get it down in a video, even though nobody's really watching, and this doesn't really affect anyone other than the people I know. So if some random person watches, they just think, oh, okay, and then just click off. So it's not like this is, you know, having any effect on other people. But I don't know, just kind of get it out there, sort of thing. None of my family watch my videos anyway, and sometimes my friends watch my videos, and most of the time they don't. Not that that's a problem, even though you should. So, but yeah, yeah, gotta hoover this floor again. Oh yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's just god awful. I hate it. I just wish I could have at least one, or I could like grab one of those things that I would like to have. But yeah, it's not gonna happen. I have tried driving lessons. I took driving lessons 20 years ago. I have had jobs. So it's not like I haven't tried. It's not like I've been lazy when it comes to that. And in a way, I've moved out and in with my then girlfriend for a year. So I had my own place with my girlfriend at the time. So I've done that as well. What's the only thing I haven't done? Wait, am I missing something? Wait, oh yeah, no. Well, I've had relationships as well. So again, I've had some experience with all four, but they never seem to stick. I think that's another reason why I'm not feeling very happy either. I can't seem to keep the happiness. Like whatever something that's making me happy, it then just gets taken away. I hope through no fault of my own, and if it is my fault, then I haven't noticed. So, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. There's not much left to say, I don't think. other than the fact that it's... And I stopped the video. Oops. Yeah, other than the fact that it's like just gone 1:30, and I'm actually quite hungry, I'm quite thirsty, and a little bit dizzy from talking so much and walking around and a little bit breathless. Might be because I'm out of breath. Might be because I'm out of shape. I don't know. So, yeah. Oh god. Go. Yeah. So I'm gonna end it there, methinks. I've been walking around for 40 minutes. Walking for 40 minutes straight, and my feet are sore. Well, they're not sore. I'm just making excuses now. They're not sore. Although I was walking around for 2.5 hours this morning, so there was that. So I'm going to end it there for now. So if you managed to make it through to the end of this video, thank you. If you only watched half of it, you're a meanie. But then again, you wouldn't hear that anyway, because yeah, this was actually supposed to be a video carrying on from the demonetization video where I was talking about a certain subject. But I thought I'd get this one out of the way first, and then I'll talk about the subject that I was going to talk about. So it's a subject that everyone knows about nearly, so especially if you're a gamer. So. So I'm just stretching my legs. Because it kind of happens when I walk quite a bit. Again, it might be because I'm out of shape, I don't know. So, I mean, I'm not completely out of shape. I mean, I do have, I'm not like unfit or anything, but that's how far I can bend my leg up. I used to be able to bend my legs over my head, but I can't seem to do that anymore. I don't think I'm out of shape. I mean, it's not like I'm fat or anything, but I'm probably a little bit overweight. Because look at me, look at these muscles. Like, who could say no to that? Like, look at this. I'd be giving like The Rock a run for his money. What was it the DSP said? He could take on Mike Tyson because he's old. Yeah, I could probably do that as well with these things. Look at that. Like, how can you... Yeah, fucking noodles. Fucking noodle arms. Anyway, I'm gonna stand up now because I don't like sitting down for too long. Yeah, I'm gonna go now. So, I'm sure you've listened to me prattle on for long enough. Yeah, like I said, I kind of want to do more of these videos. Not just because there's, like, often things I might want to say, get off my chest. Shut YouTube up because I'm using reused content, blah blah blah. So I'm hoping that maybe if my face as well is in a video, YouTube would be less picky or catchy or whatever you might want to use. So, another reason why I want to get rid of glasses. Look at that. So, yeah. Also, I'm going to go and have my lunch, which is another chicken and bacon Caesar salad. Yum, yum, yum. I'm all out of Monster energy drinks, which I have none of those left. No. That's okay, I'll get some on Thursday. So, still waiting for couriers to ring up to say my phone is ready for collection, which I'm getting a little bit concerned that they haven't rung me. I'm also getting concerned that I gave them the wrong mobile number, which I'm pretty sure I didn't. Actually, speaking of which, if there's any women out there, they want my phone number. Now, I'm not using this as a dating service, but, again, if there is anyone in Northampton, and you're, like, my age, and you're kind of into this kind of stuff, and you don't mind a geeky, nerdy person with a face that's fit for radio and a voice that's perfect for silent movies, then, email somewhere, comment, whatever, or comment on my videos anyway. Just say something. So it just makes me feel like, oh, I'm getting through to some people, yay, that kind of thing. Instead of just being like on my own, feeling alone, at home. Just, trying to make videos for a channel that doesn't even make money anymore. So it's kind of, Anyway, how long has this been going on for anyway? Because I stopped the video. It's been 5 minutes at this point. 45. God, it's going to be quite a long video again. So, yeah. Still waiting for that. Still waiting for my debit card. Again. Yeah. This is my favourite. Well, actually, no, technically that's my favourite. Yeah. That's my speed car. That's my TTO2 with all the hop-ups. That's my father's. Where is it there? But that's mine. I like that. That took so long to do. That's my favourite. I don't want to take it out. I'm scared. And that's also one of my favourites. Ignore all the monster cans there. But I do like that. I want an X-Max though. I do want an X-Max. Oh god. Which I could have. I could have got them. I could probably have got one, but I opted to get a graphics card and power supply instead, so that killed my bank account at that point. So, yeah. Well, in that case, then, if you're a woman or female, and you're into cars, RC cars, real cars, gaming, computers, and you're a geek, nerd, don't mind that kind of thing, and you don't mind someone who just spends a lot of money on RC car parts. Don't call me if you don't know my phone number. So, yeah. I don't think there's anything else. Actually, speaking of dating quickly, I did say, I have actually made 2 Twitter posts about this at pure random. I'm just saying this at pure random. But I don't know whether or not to make a video about this or just kind of throw this on here. My Twitter feed is often full of posts from trans women, probably because I am actually following a fair few. I do follow them, especially in the UK. If you're someone in the UK and I like you, I'll follow you. But yeah, I am following a lot of trans women on Twitter, so I see a lot of posts. A lot of them not safe for work posts, which is not the kind of thing you want to scroll through when someone's behind you, to be honest. But a lot of them are normal, just regular posts. And I made 2 posts on Facebook saying that, after seeing some of these posts, that I wouldn't mind dating a trans girl. I actually really wouldn't. But, yeah. I actually wouldn't. I would not mind doing that. They seem like a fun people. And I always do make sure to check their pronouns. They call it pronoun. So I do go to their profile just to see if they do have their pronouns there, so I know what they are. He, she, they. I can understand. I can't understand it. Not quite sure why you would want to be identified as it. It sounds like an insult. I don't want to call a person an it. It just makes it sound like I'm calling you a thing or an object. I mean, I can't argue. If they want to be known as it, I would refer to them as it or they. But it just sounds rude. It just sounds rude. It sounds like an object, or I'm just describing a person as a thing. But again, if they want to be, if they have their pronouns, I'll be happy to call them their pronoun. So I always do check their profiles just to make sure I know. Not that I'm going to interact with them or anything, but I just want to make sure I would get it right. So yeah. I wouldn't mind dating a trans girl. They seem like to be quite fun peeps. I think there was something else I was going to add on to that, but I can't remember. Oh yeah, the not safe for work pictures. I don't know what it is. It kind of, how do I say this? They often have a bigger penis than me. I'm not even joking either. I just the photos that they give out. I think, how are y'all bigger than me? How is this a thing? And then it makes me feel this. I don't know if it's just the angle that they take the photo at, but it looks like they all have bigger things than me. So it was. That's just eBay. So yeah, it's a little. It's funny. Actually, I don't mind at all, really, to be perfectly honest. I know there's obviously people out there who's going to have a bigger penis than me, but then at the same time, I'm going to be bigger than most people. So I'm not going to say how big I am. This is a YouTube video. I'm not going to... If I say it, does it sound like I'm boasting, though? I'll put it in text. I'll put it in text on the screen, so that way I don't sound boasting. So, if I remember to do that. Anyway, I just thought it was a bit funny, that's all. Yeah. Anyway, I am going to stop talking now, because I'm probably going to say something I really might regret. I don't claim to know things about, you know, trans women and everything like that. There is a lot I don't know. So if I don't know something, if I do say something at any point, do correct me. Because I am not claiming to know things, or know a lot. So I would like to be corrected if I am wrong. So, but yeah, they're bigger than me. Anyway, I really would like to stop the video now. So before I step my foot in it. So yeah, thank you for listening or watching. If you did, if you made it this far, congratulations. Give yourself a crown, or a virtual cookie, or a hug. Well, that's actually quite sad, because I want to hug someone, and I want someone to hug me. Okay, well, don't give yourself a hug or someone else a hug, because then I'd be jealous. But give yourself a virtual cookie if you manage to make it this far. Yeah, so thank you for watching. I'm gonna go now and have some salad and have a drink, because my throat's quite dry from all this talking. I don't usually talk this much, which is quite surprising. I'm still talking. I'm gonna go now. Thank you for watching, and see you all in whatever video. Well, no, I know what video I'm gonna upload next. I'm actually kind of watching a video about them, but I'm sure you might know what these creatures are. So thank you for watching. Oh god, look at that! I really do actually do this. Wow, I got like double chin. So yeah. Oh god. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna go now. Bye.